Hello and welcome to Taurean Tarot. We're back into the Tarot Healer by Lisa Robertson, working through the Sacral Chakra. And today I'm focusing on the section of birth and rebirth. Let's get started and see what Lisa has to say about that and how it affects our overall health of our Sacral Chakra. For those of you already familiar with the chakras, I am sure hearing that birth is an essential part of the second chakra isn't a new idea for you. For those of you new to this whole chakra business, remember that both the male and female genitals are surrounded by the sacral chakra, meaning all our reproductive organs are in this chakra's domain. However, the idea of death and rebirth in the second chakra is not so widely taught. Stillbirth, miscarriage, sterility, and menstruation will happen in the second chakra literally. The second chakra is where we learn that death and birth are one and the same, which is why we tend to talk about the concept of rebirth in regard to the second chakra. Rebirth is the cycle of life and death. It is the continuous creative energy that happens in the second chakra, and oftentimes this can be traumatic, because in order for something to be born, something must die. Rebirth is both simultaneous and cyclic. It can happen in the moment or over time. It is probably one of the most difficult issues to deal with in this chakra, and that's saying something, considering what else lives here. Generally speaking, Westerners aren't that great with death and letting go. We tend to wrap a lot of guilt and shame around walking away from things, setting boundaries, saying no, and waving goodbye. Admitting something is over, done, or dead is just not something most people are comfortable with, which is why some people continue to water dead plants, take forever to throw out dead flowers, and leave holiday decorations up long past the holiday season. Hoarding is a growing first world problem. I think the popularity of the TV show Hoarders and the success of Marie Kondo's book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, are proof that we might have issues with the second chakra, issues of rebirthing. Like it or not, in order to bring life into the world, be it physical or creatively metaphorical, something needs to die, a cycle needs to end, and you have to say goodbye to something. Birthing a new baby kills the cycle of pregnancy, and you have to say goodbye to sleep and the life you knew before this constant eating and pooping machine took over your life. If you are starting or birthing a new job, your old job and everything that was tied to it dies. If you are birthing a new business, then the idea of consistent weekly paychecks has to die. However, what the rebirthing energy brings to you is so much better than what you have said goodbye to, as long as you allow it to grow and thrive. Just like a new baby needs the right food, love, and conditions to grow and thrive, so do all the other things you birth. If you do not acknowledge the stages, steps, and process of the rebirthing energy, you will stunt the energy in the second chakra. For you will either be focusing only on what you don't want to give up, or only be thinking about what you have to gain. Whether we like to admit it or not, bringing new ideas, new energy, new things, and new people into our lives is exciting. We all love bringing new things into our experience. But what we don't like is how that new energy changes our lives, and you can't experience rebirth without change. It is this change that most people will rebel against. You may not even be aware of what energy you are rebelling against in the second chakra. Thank goodness we have a way of checking in. And for today's exercise, we are going to learn about the tarot spread that allows us to do that. But first, I just want to take a moment to digest everything that I just read. It was heavier than a lot of the things we've covered so far, and I know when I went into introduction of the sacral chakra, there was a bit of a warning from Lisa about how heavy the chakra can be. But when you're presented with it right in your face, it kind of takes a moment to really take all of that in. At least that is my initial reaction to reading about that. But it also serves as a reminder to me of why I'm doing this work. I was most excited to dig into the sacral chakra because I know that's where a lot of my issues are lying at the moment. And this section, especially with being able to let go of things, let certain things die so other things can be born into my life. And I just feel like all of this always comes back to me being stuck where I'm at right now and not having that courage to take the next step into what I want to be my new life. As far as, I mean, Lisa hit the nail on the head with giving up the consistency of those paychecks to do what I really want to do in my life and starting my own business. And that's scary. So I'm really hoping that by doing this work in my sacral chakra and really devoting the time to it, that will help me gain the courage that I need to take those steps that are necessary to get to that point in my life. And let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below about birth and the rebirth cycle. And if you are one of those people who are blessed and don't have issues of letting things go, let me know what your tips are for handling that. Or if you're on the other end of the spectrum like me, who still has way too much stuff from when I was younger and boxes full of notes from school and textbooks and things I'll probably never look at again. How would you feel about doing this work in the sacral chakra and finally being able to say goodbye to some of those things? I'm curious to know. And I just want to pause here for a moment before we get into the exercise and process our emotions. So let's just pause, take a few deep breaths. Thank the universe for this moment and for these lessons. And give us the courage and the strength that we need to move forward into this exercise, as difficult as it may be for some, to help us strengthen our sacral chakra and ultimately build a strong pillar for our spiritual and physical well-being. Thank you for taking those few moments with me. I know I needed them. Now let's see what we can learn from Lisa and our tarot cards. So for this exercise, it's going to be a 3-card spread, which I will put up on screen for you. I want you to take your deck, and as you shuffle your cards, close your eyes and take a few more deep breaths. Ask yourself the following question. What rebirthing energy am I rebelling against? As you're focusing on this question, think back to the meditation that I did in the intro video to the sacral chakra. Picture where your sacral chakra is located and visualize that orange ball of light. Now imagine that warm, welcoming energy of that orange light traveling up your sacral chakra and into your hands so that you can infuse the cards with this loving, warm energy. Once you're ready, fan out those cards in front of you face down and ask the following questions of these cards and intuitively pick them. Card number 1 is going to represent what you are rebelling against. Once you have your card selected for that, set it aside. Next, you want to focus and visualize why you think you need to hang on to this energy. Go ahead and select a card for that. And then the final card is going to be what will happen when you let it die. And here's your outcome card. Before we get into the meaning of these cards, I just have to say it's funny how I've done this a few times where I've intuitively decided to do a video outside of the tarot healer for this channel, and it ultimately ends up leading back to a lesson that I shortly cover after that. And as I'm reading the significance of these cards that we're choosing, I can't help but think the act of gratitude that I just went over and the gratitude journal that I ended up making for that video. And if you don't know the video I'm talking about, I'll make sure I link that in the cards so you can check that out. I'll also have a link to my Etsy store for you to download a copy of it so you can print out and do for yourself. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because I'm thinking of, on the one page, I have a section in there as a prompt of something that you've been holding on to that you want to let go. Just kind of brought me back to that. And I think it's funny how those two things correlated, because I didn't do that video too long ago. So if you decide to download my gratitude journal, and when it comes time to work on that part of the journal, this might be a good exercise to do to help you with that prompt. Back to our tarot spread here. Now that you have your cards selected, lay them out in front of you face up in their corresponding positions, as I have laid out here on screen. When you look at these three cards as a whole, do you assume some cards are good and some cards are bad? And if you do think that, do you think you got some bad cards in places where you thought you would see good cards? If so, make sure you make note of that in your tarot journal. And let this help you shape the way that you look at your cards too. These cards might make it seem like doubling down and digging in your heels is actually a good thing, but even too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. So just keep that in mind. I know we normally focus on a single card for these exercises, so when we're working with multiple cards, it's important to take in the big picture and then take that to your tarot journal and then start digging deeper into each of the cards and correlate them back to what you pulled them for in the first place. And make sure that you analyze each card for what it signifies. So now that we know what this exercise is for, I'm going to go ahead and pull my cards for this spread before I move into the second part of this exercise. So I went from a heavy intro to a heavy reading. For the first card of what I am rebelling against, I pulled the Devil, which has been showing up a lot for me these days. There are definitely certain aspects of my life that I need to work on that correlate with this card, and it is definitely not a coincidence that it keeps coming up for me. And you know, that's one of the great things about tarot is, to me, tarot is the best friend that's not afraid to tell you how it really is. So this is no different. Now for my second card of why I think I need to hang on to this energy, I pulled the Three of Pentacles, which I'm not quite sure how that correlates yet, so I'm going to have to dig a little deeper into that. And for the final card, I selected the Six of Pentacles for what will happen when I let the energy connected with the Devil die. And I find it interesting I pulled the Six of Pentacles. Again, it's a lot of things that tarot has already been pointing out to me, and it's just saying these messages aren't going to go away until you do the work you need to do, girl. So I've been being told for a while now that good things will come when I can let go of certain things. And this is just another reminder that I still have work that I need to do in those areas. You know, going back to when we first talked about what the Sacral Chakra was about and what it correlates to as far as like emotions and things like that, I'm really not surprised that the Devil's coming up so much. It correlates to the emotional aspect of myself. So I suspect that I'll see it again until I commit to myself and commit to the work that I need to do to get rid of this energy. If I think about the spread the way that I was telling you to think about the spread, I know most people don't care for the Devil card. I already know what it signifies for me. So again, I'm not surprised. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's serving as a reminder of there's things that I need to work on, and I'm very well aware of those things. And I'm hoping that this is just a kickstart for me to take that work even further so that I can get this devil energy out of my readings for good. So not only will I be taking these to my tarot journal, but as always, I will do a visual journal entry for this as well. So now that I have my cards selected, there's one more part to this exercise that we need to go over for this part of the Sacral Chakra, and that is going to be pulling a significator card. Now this is going to be signifying a lot of the themes that we talked about today, as far as rebirthing, letting something go so something else can come in. So you want to really keep that in mind when you're looking through your cards to select a significator for you. Think about cards that have energy that both create and destroy, and how it can be in the moment, but also stretched out over a long period of time. Some of the cards that Lisa suggests for this would be death, which makes a lot of sense. And when you think about death, it's literally about rebirth and letting something go so something else can be brought in. Another card would be temperance, combining two things to make something new. Ace of Wands, that spark of creativity, that ignition of something. When you think about fire, you're ultimately destroying whatever's burning to create something new, whether it be space, whether it be food. It can be any number of things. Five of Cups, that one's interesting. When I think of the Five of Cups, this I feel like is some of the reasons why you may be holding on to the energy of the first card. You think about the Five of Cups, it's sadness, loss, grief, guilt, regret, trauma. And I think this is a central theme of what Lisa was touching on when I read her excerpt about the birth and rebirth of the Sacral Chakra. So if you feel like some of those themes are resonating with you, or what may be holding you back from healing, that might be a good card for you. Another card that is suggested is the Eight of Cups. And this is letting go of something and moving towards something new. And then finally, another card to consider would be the Queen of Cups. As far as the Queen of Cups is concerned, this is more playing to the emotion aspect of the Sacral Chakra. This is digging deeper into your feelings, pulling out that feminine energy, and dealing with the empathy aspect of whatever you may be going through. That is holding you back from ultimately reaching the next step on your journey. And again, these are just suggestions. This has to be personal to you and where you're at in your life. With this being such a heavy subject and something that will ultimately help you grow, my suggestion is to take these suggested cards and really take your time with them and see how each one relates to where you are in this moment. I know I'm going to take each of these cards to my tarot journal, and even if they don't resonate with me, lessons can definitely be learned from all of these cards we just went over, and I am going to see what each of those lessons are for me. And then once you've gone through these, if they don't resonate with your tarot spread and where you're at right now, feel free to go through your deck and explore those cards and see which one is the right significator card for you. And once you have that selected, take that to your tarot journal, explore the themes of that card and why you ultimately decided to go with that card. As of right now, I am going to go with the Death card for my significator. That could change once I do the work in my tarot journal, but the Death card ultimately describes the work that I'm hoping to do with the sacral chakra and letting go of things that have been holding me back and making room for something new. So that'll be my choice. Please let me know in the comments below what you ultimately decided to go with and what your thoughts are on this section of the sacral chakra in general. If you stuck with me through this video, thank you so much. I know this one was definitely a lot deeper than we've gotten in the past, and I know I'm definitely going to be lighting some sage after this video to cleanse some of the energy going on in this room. You know, once you go through it, don't forget the self-care aspect of this journey. Take some time for you. Process everything that I just talked about. Write about it in your journal. Reach out to somebody if you need to talk through it. And just take care of yourself. This is not easy work. Lisa stated right in the intro of this section, this is probably the hardest chakra to get through. So I knew this going in, and just know that it's going to pay off in the end. You know, this journey is meant to strengthen you and to be the best possible version of yourself, and to help strengthen all of your chakras so that you can be strong. So thank you for sticking with me, and I look forward to continuing this work. There are definitely lighter lessons to be had. We just have to get through the hard stuff first. You think about it, you can't appreciate the ease of life without going through some struggle. So with that, I will leave you. If you could just take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Be on the lookout for my visual journal entry so you can see if I ended up sticking with the death card as my significator, or if I picked up another lesson along the way while working through my tarot journal. And until then, take care and be well.